Hare Krishna. Too loud, too loud. Slightly less. All right, I'll just sing softly. All right, does anyone have a page yet? 114. If you're ever looking for a song, look at the back. That's all the first lines. Okay. So give me a note. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Okay. One of you guys need to play the drum. We have two drummers. Damodar, you're it. Oh, wait. Ready? Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Damodara Rati Vardhana Veshe Hari. All right, you're way too low. You can do it. A note higher. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Mahite Damodara Rati Vardhana Veshe Hari Nishkuta Brinda Vipineshe. Damodara Vardhana Veshe Hari Nishkuta Brinda Vipineshe. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Vishapanundadhi Navashashileke Lalita Sakhi Guna Ramita Vishake. Vishapanundadhi Navashashileke Lalita Sakhi Guna. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Karunam Kurumai Karuna Bhadite Sanaka Sanatana Vanita Charite. Karuna Bhadite Sanaka Sanatana. Karunam Kurumai Karuna Bhadite Sanaka Sanatana Vanita Charite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. So this is Srila Prabhupada's introducing this song in Montreal in 1968 on Radhashtami. And he says, this song was sung by Rupa Goswami. He is the real person, the actual person, to understand Radha and Krishna. So he says, all glories to Radharani. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. She's so dear to Krishna. Krishna, everyone is trying to love Krishna, but Krishna is trying to love somebody. Now, how great she is. Just try to understand. Everyone, the whole world, the whole universe, all living entities, they are trying to love Krishna. Krishna Prema. Lord Chaitanya describes Prema Pamato Mahan. And Rupa Goswami described that you are distributing Krishna Prema. You, Lord Chaitanya, distributing Krishna Prema. So Krishna Prema is so valuable. But Krishna is after Radharani. Just see how Radharani is great. Just try to understand the greatness of Radharani. Therefore, she is so great, and we have to offer our respect. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. How she is great? Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Taruni. Taruni means young girls. You'll see the pictures. They're all young girls. But of all the young girls, she, Radharani, is the most beautiful. She is enchanting to the young girls also. She's so beautiful. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Damodar Rati Vardhana Veshe. And she always dresses herself so nicely that Damodar, Krishna, becomes attracted to her beauty. Hari Nishkuta Vrindavipineshe. And she is the only lovable object of Krishna. And she is the queen of Vrindavan. This queen of Vrindavan. You'll find in Vrindavan, if you go to Vrindavan, everyone is worshipping Radharani. Rani means queen. They are always speaking, Jai Radhe, Radharani. All the devotees in Vrindavan, they are worshippers of Radharani. Hari Nishkuta Vrindavipineshe. And Vrishabhanu Dadhi Navashashi Leke. And she appeared as the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and her companion Lalita Sakhi and Vishaka Sakhi, and the devotees. So on behalf of the pure devotees of Krishna, Rupa Goswami is praying, Karunam Kudumahi Karuna Badite. Oh, my worshipable Radharani, you are full of mercy. So I am begging of your mercy because you are so merciful. Very easily you bestow your mercy. So I am begging your mercy. Karunam Kudumahi Karuna Badite. Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite. Now somebody may say, oh, you are so great, learned scholar, you are so great saintly person, and you are begging mercy from an ordinary girl? How is that? Therefore Rupa Goswami says, oh, this is not an ordinary girl. Sanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite. This girl's description is possible to be made by great saintly persons like Sanaka and Sanatan. She is not ordinary. And then he ends this lecture with this one thing. He's been describing Radha and Krishna. So the lesson is that we should not treat Radharani as an ordinary girl or Krishna as an ordinary man. They are the supreme absolute truth. But in the absolute truth, there is the pleasure potency, and that is exhibited in the dealings of Radha and Krishna. And Radha's expansion, all the gopis, and Krishna is the supreme Lord. Thank you very much. Chant Hare Krishna. So that was Montreal, 1968. And now we're going to turn to the Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 4, text 83, which is a beautiful verse. This is Adi Lila, chapter 4, I'm sorry. So if you give me a second here. Okay. Okay, this is Adi Lila, the Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj, translation commentary by Srila Prabhupada. Devi Krishna Mahi Prokta Radhika Padadevata Sarva Lakshmi Mahi Sarva Kanti Sammohini Para Devi Krishna Mahi Prokta Radhika Padadevata Sarva Lakshmi Mahi Sarva Kanti Sammohini Para. So I'm just going to read this translation and the explanation by Krishnadas Kaviraj. This is from the Brihad Gautamiya Tantra. The transcendental goddess Srimati Radharani is a direct counterpart of Lord Sri Krishna. She is the central figure for all the goddesses of fortune. She possesses all the attractiveness to attract the all-attractive personality of Godhead. She is the primeval internal potency of the Lord. And now in the following verses, Krishnadas Kaviraj, he explores these words and he gives different meanings. So this is all from this verse. Devi means resplendent and most beautiful, or else it means the lovely abode of the worship and love sports of Lord Krishna. Krishnamayi means one who's within and without our Lord Krishna. She sees Lord Krishna wherever she casts her glance. Or Krishnamayi means that she is identical with Lord Krishna, for she embodies the mellows of love. The energy of Lord Krishna is identical with him. Her worship, Aradhana, consists of fulfilling the desires of Lord Krishna. Therefore the Puranas call her Radhika. Therefore Radha is Parama Devata, the supreme goddess, and she is worshipable for everyone. She is the protectress of all, and she is the mother of the entire universe. I've already explained the meaning of Sarva-Lakshmi. Radha is the original source of all the goddesses of fortune. We're going to go into that in a minute and describe her as Ladini Shakti. Or Sarva-Lakshmi indicates that she fully represents the 6 opulences of Krishna. Therefore, she is the supreme energy of Lord Krishna. The word Sarva-Kanti indicates that all beauty and luster rest in her body. All the Lakshmis derive their beauty from her. Kanti may also mean all the desires of Lord Krishna. All the desires of Lord Krishna rest in Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani fulfills all the desires of Lord Krishna. This is the meaning of Sarva-Kanti. Lord Krishna, and then the last word here, Sammohini, and then Para. Lord Krishna enchants the world, but Sri Radha enchants even him. Therefore she is the supreme goddess of all. Sri Radha is the full power, and Lord Krishna is the possessor of full power. The two are not different, as evidenced by the revealed scriptures. And now, if you allow me, I'm going to read one verse earlier in this chapter. By the way, this is the go-to chapter if you really want to find out about Radharani in Srila Prabhupada's writings. Adi Leela, chapter 4 in the CC. It's a very extensive explanation. So here in text 59, and I'm going to read a verse. Yeah. Just see. Yeah, the Chaitanya Charitamrita especially gives very detailed explanation of raga, bhakti, and the science of it and the process of it. It's very wonderful. So this text is 459 of the same chapter. Srimati Radhika is the transformation of Krishna's love. She is his internal energy called Ladini. That Ladini energy gives Krishna pleasure and nourishes his devotees. And I'm just going to read parts of this purport here. Most of it. Srila Jiva Goswami has elaborately discussed the Ladini potency in his Priti Sandarbha. He says that the Vedas clearly state only devotional service can lead one to the personality of Godhead. Only devotional service can help a devotee meet the Supreme Lord face to face. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is attracted by devotional service, and as such, the ultimate supremacy of Vedic knowledge rests in knowing the science of devotional service. What is the particular attraction that makes the Supreme Lord enthusiastic to accept devotional service, and what is the nature of such service? The Vedic scriptures inform us that the Supreme Lord, the Absolute Truth, is self-sufficient, and that Maya or nescience can never influence him at all. Therefore, the potency that overcomes the Supreme must be purely spiritual. Such a potency cannot be anything of the material manifestation. The bliss enjoyed by the Supreme Lord cannot be of material composition, like the impersonalist conception of the bliss of Brahman. Devotional service is reciprocation between two, and therefore it cannot be located simply within oneself. Therefore, the bliss of self-realization of Brahmananda cannot be equated with devotional service. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has 3 kinds of internal potency, namely the Ladini Shakti, or the pleasure potency, the Sandini Shakti, or existential potency, and the Samvit Shakti, or cognitive potency. In the Vishnu Purana, the Lord is addressed as follows: O Lord, you are the support of everything. The 3 attributes, Ladini, Sandati, and Samvit, exist in you as one spiritual energy. But the material modes which cause happiness, misery, and mixtures of the two don't exist in you, for you have no material qualities. Ladini is the personal manifestation of the blissfulness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by which he enjoys pleasure. Because the pleasure potency is perpetually present in the Supreme Lord, the theory of the impersonalist that the Lord appears in a material mode of goodness cannot be accepted. When that pleasure potency of the Supreme Lord is exhibited by his grace in the person of a devotee, that manifestation is called love of God. Love of God is an epithet for the pleasure potency of the Lord. Therefore, devotional service reciprocated between the Lord and his devotee is an exhibition of the transcendental pleasure potency of the Lord. The potency of the Lord that always enriches him with transcendental bliss is not material, but the Shankarais have accepted it as such because they're ignorant of the identity of the Supreme Lord and his pleasure potency. I'll just skip over this. The Ladini potency gives the Lord all transcendental pleasure, and the Lord bestows such potency upon his pure devotee. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, but my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. So this chapter in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, of course it's dealing with Lord Chaitanya, but what about Lord Chaitanya? It's following carefully the Mangalacharan. The Chaitanya Charitamrita begins with 14 verses in which Krishna's Kaviraj, he lays out the subject matter that he's going to speak. As in the certain rules for the Mangalacharan, especially of a major work like this. And that is, he also gives blessings and prayers and obeisances. So, in the third verse of this Mangalacharan, he describes Lord Chaitanya's external reason for appearing. And that is to spread the Sankirtan movement. I mean, that's an essential reason. And we're sitting here because he came for that reason. Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya for that reason, to spread the eternal dharma of pure devotional service, especially by the process of chanting the holy name. But in the next two verses, the fourth and fifth verse, he describes the the fifth and sixth verses, he describes the internal reason. And in these verses that I read here, he's exploring that fifth verse, which starts out Radha Krishna Pranayabhukati Ladani Shakti Rasman. That Srimati Radharani is a transformation of love of Krishna. She's personified love for Krishna and known as the Ladani Shakti. Now, in the spiritual world, they are as one, you see, but they act in two ways. But that's why you find sometimes you'll see that the Radha and Krishna are in the pictures, they look like they're almost one. But when Krishna appeared on earth, of course he separated. They appeared as two. But now they have again united as one in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's the subject of that verse. And then the next verse describes Krishna's threefold desires for coming in as in the mood of Srimati Radharani. Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahimaki Vishobhanayaiva Svadyo Yena Buddhamarudimaki Vishobhamadiya Saukim Chasya Munanabhavaki Vishambeti Loba Tadbhavaya Samajam Shishiga Vasando Harindu. So he actually quotes from Krishna. He says, because Krishna, he's in the spiritual world, and he sees his reflection. There's a verse like he sees his reflection in a jeweled fountain, and he becomes attracted to himself, says to his own beauty. But he says, I can't really appreciate my beauty fully, as Srimati Radharani can. So he wants to first of all understand the glory of her love for him, the qualities that she appreciates uniquely through that love, and the pleasure she feels in loving him and being loved by him. For that, he can't remain in position of Krishna in the spiritual world to taste that, so therefore he comes as with the mood and complexion of Radharani, although he's Krishna himself in this world. So this fourth chapter explores those two verses. And in doing so, Krishna's Kaviraj is now getting into this deep philosophy of the different kinds of internal energies of the Lord. The Ladani, Sandani, and Sambit. Krishna has three basic energies: internal, marginal, which is us, the Tatastha Shakti, and the external, Bahiranga Shakti, which we know from Bhagavad Gita 7th chapter has those 7 divisions, earth, water, fire, ether. So everything is either Krishna or his energies, both in the material and spiritual world. But he's exploring now the internal energies in the spiritual world. So this Ladani Shakti, and I think, I don't know if I read this. This is from this chapter. I pulled out a few excerpts. Text 56. Text 62. The transcendental potency of the Lord by which he maintains his existence is called Sandani. The transcendental potency by which he knows himself and causes others to know him is called Sambit. Sambit means knowledge. And the transcendental potency by which he possesses transcendental bliss and causes his devotees to have bliss is called the Ladani Shakti. And here, text 69 is an essential instruction here, because this is where we come in. Only when the Ladini Shakti emanates from Krishna and is bestowed upon the living entities, upon a living being, to attract him, Krishna. Only when the Ladini Shakti emanates from Krishna and is bestowed upon the living being to attract Krishna, does the living being become a pure lover of God. But when the same Ladini Shakti is adulterated by the external material energy and emanates from the living being, it does not attract Krishna. On the contrary, the living being becomes attracted by the glamour of the material energy. At that time, instead of becoming mad with love of Godhead, the living being becomes mad after material sense enjoyment. And because of his association with the qualitative modes of material nature, he is captivated by its interactions of distressful, unhappy feelings. So the same pleasure potency, this is the relationship between prema and kama. And there's a verse that I'll quote, which is very famous, where he talks about that. As Prabhupada explains at the end of chapter 3 of the Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna asks, what is it that one by which one is forced to act, seemingly against his own better judgment? Even though you know something is harmful, you still do it anyway. And Krishna says it's kama. This is the kama and krodha. The kama that transforms into anger when you're frustrated. It's the eternal enemy of the living being, of the conditioned living being. So that kama is prema in contact with the material modes of nature. It's curdled, if you will. It's perverted. And the same pleasure, the same energy, which gives pleasure to Krishna and also pleasure to the living being when it's purely directed toward Krishna, toward giving him pleasure, causes misery when we try to possess that pleasure energy and engage in sense gratification. So Krishna consciousness, the internal process, after all is said and done, is trying to transmute or purify or refine that kama back into prema. Prabhupada makes it say once it becomes kama, it's very difficult to change it back. But he says it's possible by the process of devotional service. So Srimati Radharani is that Ladini Shakti personified. She's not different from Krishna. Why would Krishna want to enjoy anything material? Obviously he doesn't. He's complete. That's where the sixth opulence is, the sixth of detachment. We call it renunciation, but it's really vairagya. Completely detached from the material energy. And his pure devotees are similarly completely detached from any temptation to enjoy material sense gratification. Why is that? Because they're overwhelmed with the bliss of serving Krishna and in that Ladini Shakti. So Srimati Radharani is the personification of that. And Prabhupada makes this interesting this statement here, that all of the service that one does is mediated through Srimati Radharani. Is that any devotional service that we do? And when we feel some pleasure, even little inklings of the pleasure of actually serving Krishna because we're Krishna conscious, that's the Ladini Shakti, the little taste of that bliss that the pure devotees are feeling at every moment. So, this verse, Atmendriya Priti Vancha Tare Balikam, Krishnendriya Priti Icha Dade Prem Nam. The desires to gratify one's own senses is kama or lust, but the desire to please the senses of Lord Krishna is prema or love. This is a summary of what I was just explaining, and Srila Prabhupada explains it. So this is the essential understanding of that who Srimati Radharani is. Now on this day, there's so many qualities. There's a beautiful passage in the Madhya Lila. It describes the 25 main qualities of Krishna. It's not difficult to memorize. It's like 4 or 5 verses, And one of those is, extreme compassion and mercy. This mudra that she has, oftentimes in the Radha Krishna deities, you'll see this mudra. This is a mudra of pacification, of assurance that everything's going to be okay. You just serve my Krishna, and you'll get my mercy, and you'll be pacified. So this is a day, especially when we can pray for Srimati Radharani's mercy, because it's by her mercy only that we're able to engage in devotional service, so that anything that we do is accepted by Krishna. And as Prabhupada explained in that wonderful little excerpt from his lecture on his when he's explaining the song, Jai Radhe Jai Jai Madhavadayate, that in Vrindavan, even today, and especially, when Prabhupada was there, and shortly thereafter, the devotees would greet you, Jai Radhe, Radhe Radhe, and you see sometimes written on walls the name Radhe in the Devanagari script, because they know that she's the empress of Vrindavan, where all of the service is most acceptable to Krishna, and he's most happy to be there. That's his home. In Goloka Vrindavan, the most intimate part, where the highest exchanges of love are taking place, is in Brajadam. This Brajadam on earth is a replica of that. So that's Krishna's eternal home. And he most relishes, especially his relationship with the gopis. That's the highest intense pleasure. And among all the gopis is Srimati Radharani. Now it's explained in this chapter that all of the gopis are expansions of Radharani, as are the queens in Dwarka and the Lakshmis. They're all expansions of Srimati Radharani. And the gopis in Vrindavan, they enjoy much more to bring Radha and Krishna together. We have to try to understand the spiritual world like 180 degrees different from what we're involved in. Is that there's no false ego there, selfishness. At the end of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Lord Chaitanya is explaining the last verse, Ashlashiva Padaratam Gunashtamam, where Srimati Radharani is expressing her separation from Krishna. But she also says there that whether Krishna embraces me or crushes me in the embrace, that doesn't matter. Whether he's present before me or he corrodes my heart and causes me so much pain by being absent, I'll still love him. Marma is the soft heart, the most tender part of your being. That's marma hatan. When that's attacked, by what? By his absence. He likes so many girls, he's a lampada, I don't care. The mat prananata, to say even napara. Mat prananata, he's the Lord of my life, and there will never be any other. Now, when you read the CC carefully, and you'll see that there's a verse describing this is the symptom of real prema, is that even though there's so many reasons for breaking the relationship doesn't break. The love is never given up. Krishna abandoned the gopis for years and years and years together. They're left in Vrindavan, right? Separate. But they never gave up loving. Even though there's every reason to. He was absent for so many years. Never gave up loving. And then when they finally meet back in Chaitra, right? Says, okay, just come back with us to Vrindavan. So that's and Srimati Radharani is there, and she this famous verse revealed by Rupa Goswami, the essence of the Jagannath mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Bhattiyatri mood. Priyak soyam Krishna sahachati kuru cheta mimitas tatahang sarada tabidam bayo sangam sukham tatapiyantak kedan mododomolali panchamadushe monome kadindi pulinapatanaya spahati. This is a very important verse. When Lord Chaitanya read this verse, he embraced Rupa Goswami and imparted unto him the power to explore and explain the highest levels of rasa. So what Radharani is saying there, my dear friend, she's with one of her friends in Kurukshetra. I am now, here on this Kurukshetra plain, I am now meeting my very old and dear friend Krishna. He's the same Krishna and I'm the same Radharani, and it's very nice that we're meeting. But still, my heart longs to take him back to the bank of the Yamuna and to hear him play that fifth note on the flute. There's a certain note and a certain raga. It's very sweet, isn't it? That's my longing. So after all those years, she didn't give up on him. This is the sign of a spiritual love, of pure love. And Srimati Radharani is the leader of all that. Now, there's some other statements here I wanted to read. So this Atmanbriya Pritivansha, that's desire to please one's own senses. This is kama. But Krishna Pritivada Iche Prem Nam. So, and it's compared to iron and gold. They share the nature of being metals. So they seem similar. But there's a world of difference between iron and gold, and there's a world of difference between kama and prema. And so, and so much of Prabhupada's purports here, and especially when he would, speak on Radhashtami, there's a couple other Radhashtami lectures. He's warning against the tendency, the sahajiya tendency. Sahajiya means easy, simple. All we have to do is hear about Radha and Krishna. We don't have to follow any regular business. Don't have to know the Shastra. That's disaster for the devotees. That's why we approach these subjects with great respect. Prabhupada gave us learn the Bhagavad Gita and learn the Bhagavatam, understand Krishna's position, become a humble servant, and then you can enter into these things. You can begin to understand who Radha and Krishna really are. And when we first worship, we're worshiping them in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan, as servants, as humble servants. They're praying for a little mercy, a little drop of service that we can perform. And because it's such a pure thing, the heart has to be completely pure to really relish any kind of bhakti rasa, what to speak of the highest rasa. But at the same time, chanting Hare Krishna, that's Radha and Krishna right there. I mean, we learn, if you explain what the meaning of the name is, Hare is the vocative form of Hara, which is the name for Radharani. It means she who takes away Krishna's mind, captivates Krishna's mind. Hari, Hara is to take away. So, and of course there's Krishna and Rama. Rama can also mean Krishna there, the reservoir of all spiritual pleasure. So, in spite of the fact that we have to be very careful and only approach these subject matters, especially through Prabhupada's books, Prabhupada's devotees, still, right in the first day, when you chant Hare Krishna, you're associating directly with Krishna, and purification begins to take place. But to really perfect the process, we have to go through that Vaidhi Bhakti stage of rules and regulations. It's just like thinking, feeling, willing. I love Prabhupada's, when I first heard that, I said, this is really what the mind is all about. And in the process of Vaidhi Bhakti, Vaidhi means rules and regulations. And there are so many do's and don'ts. Ado Gravashaya, first surrender unto a spiritual master, and serve him with all humility and questions and all these things. And the 4 regulative principles, and get up early, and all these things that we have to do. Why? Because we're so conditioned. We're so fallen. We're not at all really worthy, but by the mercy of Krishna and Lord Chaitanya and the representative, we've given an opportunity. But we realize, we have to really become purified to enter into these higher levels. So, by that Vaidhi Bhakti, one becomes regulated and one becomes purified, gets up onto the Shuddha Sattva, the Sattva platform, by which you can begin to experience the Shuddha Sattva. Because all of this is going on in the pure goodness in the spiritual world. Prabhupada has a statement here, and this is just one of them. I found it here. There, Adi Lila 435, same chapter. There are no sexual activities in the spiritual world. The transactions between lover and beloved in the spiritual world are pure transcendental love and unadulterated bliss. Which is like mind-blowing, because when you read some of these writings, it seems to describe that. But we have this strong statement. No, it's not that. What we do here is a completely perverted, this is where the word perverted really comes from, perverted reflection of that pure loving exchange in the spiritual world. What's highest there is lowest here. There's parakiya ras. This is what Radha and Krishna, parakiya, she's married, right? And they sneak out in the middle of the night and meet Krishna, all these things. That's parakiya. It means unwedded love. That's the highest. In the spirit, it's the highest. Gopi love for Krishna is the highest, Lord Chaitanya said. So, because it has the added excitement of being illicit. But here, that's the lowest thing. Lowest degradation. And you can see in society all the pain it causes. Horrible. So, but really to get away from that, here we are in this Kali Yuga, modern age, where it's rampant everywhere. It's got distinctly 10 times worse since I've been around. Since like 50 years ago, you would never imagine things that are going on today. So to come out of that environment, which affects us, obviously we require great purification. So this is how Srila Prabhupada always presented it. Text 34, the conjugal relationship of amorous love called Parakiya Ras is the unparalleled perfection of love exhibited by Lord Krishna and his devotees. And here, early in the chapter, Prabhupada says, the regulative principles help ordinary devotees rise to the stage of perfect love of God. Pure love for Krishna is the perfection of pure devotion, and pure devotional service is identical with spontaneous devotional service. These are some of the quotes I pulled out here. Okay. So the bottom line is that Srimati Radharani is really the all of our devotional service is going through her, and she personifies this pure love of Krishna, was completely selfless. This idea, which is embodied at the beginning of the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anya Bilashita Sunyam Jnana Karma Janavatam Anukulena Krishna Nushidana Bhaktaruttama. This is the mission statement of this Hare Krishna movement, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Nothing less than devotional service, which is totally devoid of any desire for personal sense gratification, or in its gross or subtle forms, liberation, or mystic powers, or anything else. That's what it should be devoid of. What is it? Activity whose motive is simply to please Krishna. Anukulena Krishna Anushilana Bhakti Uttama. Now, how to do that, we're completely ignorant. So we need guidance. How to wean ourselves away from this mentality of false ego. I'm the enjoyer, I'm the controller. And to develop that service attitude, beginning with service to the sadhu, service to the guru, service to the other devotees, and in this way pleasing Krishna and all the things that we're supposed to do, the do's and don'ts. That's Vaidhi Bhakti, regulative principles. They help us to rise to the stage of perfect love for God. So we should keep the goal in mind, but we should know we have to go through those steps. Ado, Shraddha, developing faith by hearing from devotees and pure devotees, and also associating with sincere devotees. Engaging in bhajana kriya, in association of devotees, becoming an artist, getting purified. And that anarta nivritti stage, that's up to us, how fast we want to go through that. That can take lifetimes. But when we finally get to the point of where most of the anartas are gone, then you're in the nishta platform, which is a more secure platform. That's where your faith really develops to the point where you're absolutely certain that just by practicing Krishna consciousness, all my aspirations will be achieved. That's the definition of faith, according to Lord Chaitanya and teaching Sanatana Goswami. So then, and it's not just mutually exclusive. There's taste, even in the earliest stages, or we wouldn't stay. But after, when the nishta, the taste becomes more and more ruchi, and that's the first hint of love of God. Taste means that everything becomes sweeter. The holy name, which we hear about, and this is why Nama Mahima, this is one of the chapters, I think, in that book about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, glorifying the holy name, so that our faith in chanting is maintained, and we're enthusiastic. Well, it says here that it's the sweetest of the sweet. Well, how can I taste that sweetness? I'm tasting it, but it's not really as sweet as I hear about. But that's what the devotees are experiencing. Tunde Tandamadita Ting, Rupa Goswami says, I want to have millions of tongues to taste this sweetness. So the sweetness is there, but we can't taste it. Our tongue is more or less covered by the bile of ignorance, like jaundice. So in our Monday evening classes, Monday morning classes, we're going through the nectar of instruction. For anyone who's interested, you may want to tune in or come. And we haven't come to yet the essential verse, where he says, Syat Krishna Nama Chadidadi Satapya Vindya Pitto Pataptara Salasana Rochikanu. That the holy name form qualities of pastimes of Krishna are sweet as sugar candy, but now they taste bitter because our tongue is covered by the bile of ignorance. But isn't it a wonderful thing that just by hearing and chanting and dedicating your life to that, the disease is cured at its root and all the sweetness is returned, the natural sweetness. So we're in a diseased condition of life. And all of Srila Prabhupada's books and his instructions in the holy name is meant to cure us of that disease and return us to a natural state where we are swimming in this ocean of Ananda that was there and is our birthright. So today is a wonderful day where we can pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani, and that she will purify us so that we can progress nicely in devotional service. And if there's any questions, we can try to answer them, and then I'll give you my little rendition of the Sari song in the Govinda Lilamrita, Kunkamakta Kanchanamja. Go ahead. Oh, yes, we have this.
Okay. So I've heard that. It's on.
Just hold it real close.
I have heard that in the spirit.
I'll repeat it.
Okay. I've heard that when Krishna descends to the material world in Gokula Vrindavan, the gopis are married and they have their husbands and everything. But in Goloka Vrindavan, they're unmarried, or but I don't understand how that works.
Just like in Goloka Vrindavan, the question arose about the demons.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain rasa there, that of wonder and appreciation of Krishna when he kills so many demons. You read about it because Krishna book is really about Krishna on earth. So what about the demons? So Prabhupada said there's no demons there, but there's the idea that there may be a demon. And he gave the example of a cloud coming. It's not like, this is Arishtastra, So the mood of being saved is the same. I mean, even and this is somewhat of a shock from the devotees, they know about. Yeah, they know. Yeah, they know about the leelas, and it's the mood of being saved from the demons, and also Yashoda, and parents. What about? I mean, Krishna doesn't take birth there and grow up. What about all those sweet baby leela? Still, the mood is still there. In other words, the mood. Yashoda and Nanda see Krishna as a little child, and they feel it. Yeah. I mean, that question was directly asked from as you can see in the letter. I'm sorry. But the Vatsalya Ras is there. Anyway, Maharaj, I've never heard a question directed about lifting Govardhan Hill. But definitely the idea of the little crawling in the yard there, it's not crawling. But the mood is there. That's why maybe devotees sometimes they prefer, let me just be born on the earth so I can relish it repeatedly. Krishna is eternally, the Kaishora there.
So the gopis are married?
So they're not, so the married thing. So they're not officially married, but the feeling of being married is there, so that there can be that Parakiya Ras. But on earth, there are devotees who take the role of marrying the gopis. But, and then it's also mentioned the idea of them having children, which seems to be there right in the, where Krishna says, go back and be with your children, It's all explained if you read, the commentators, how there's a double, the gopis that are in the bed with their husbands are not the same gopis really. There's expansions, pure expansions of the coming. So they figured out that way. Okay, shall I end with my little rendition? Okay, go ahead.
So, you were mentioning that the definition of faith from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and how it's saying that just by practicing Krishna consciousness, all my aspirations, all my desires will be fulfilled and all that. So maybe you could give maybe more of a explanation of that, or understanding of that, kind of like I don't want to say, like bringing it home today, like what exactly that means, for nowadays, for devotees.
Yeah, well, it's eternal. I mean, that's not just for nowadays, but for us, how does that play out? Well, the idea is that it doesn't mean What it doesn't mean is that all my material aspirations that I have now will be fulfilled if I just have faith in Krishna. That's not what's meant. This stage of nishtha, after all, is reached after your impurities are almost gone. It's the same thing we think every morning in Bhagavatam. Nashta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavata sevya. Bhagavadita mashlaga bhakti bhavati naishtiki. Naishtiki is simply the verb for the nishtha, which is a noun. So what's mentioned there is that by the process of hearing about Krishna, the anartas or abhadras, the same thing, are cleansed away by Krishna. And when they're almost all gone, then you reach the stage of nishtha or shraddha, real faith, which means that you're fixed in the mode of goodness. That's explained in the next verse. So your material aspirations have practically been destroyed. So what aspirations do you have? The spiritual aspirations. Now what it doesn't mean is that as soon as you get this faith, you have no material activities at all, because there are two tracks. To maintain your body, you have to work, you have to do something, you have to eat. So it means that whatever you do on that level will be sufficient to maintain your body and mind together, and your spiritual aspirations will be fulfilled. And so I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to stop doing Krishna consciousness and do something else. Somehow or other, I have to work in such a way that my work is also for Krishna, and that I can remember Krishna in the work. And of course, Srila Prabhupada started the ISKCON movement so that it would be directly you're able to do that. And somehow Krishna has made it available, so yes, devotees can distribute books, think of Krishna, and also bring in Lakshmi to support the movement, and people live very simply and collectively, and it works. So that part is taken care of. So Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kori Sudhidhanush Joy Krishna Bhakti Kole Sarva Kama Katahoy. That's the actual verse. Shraddha Shabde. The definition of faith is that absolute firm conviction that just by prosecuting Krishna consciousness, all my desires will be fulfilled. Now, what happens is when people lose faith, it means they're getting other desires. And they're seeing, well, I can't hang around with these guys. I got to go make some money. I got to do this, got to do this, got to. That's at a different level. That's when you have to start getting the shraddha at the beginning, abhav shraddha, which is respect and interest and associated with devotees, and building up your faith so that you do bhajan. By doing your bhajan, chiefly chanting Hare Krishna and other processes, Krishna from within, he's cleansing away all of these material desires and giving you more and more desire to perform devotional service. So by the time you get to nishtha, which is real faith, then you've got a lot of vairagya built up practically completely for the material side. So your aspirations should all be on the spiritual side. How can I chant purely? How can I get rid of these latent, these vestigial material desires? Okay, if I just practice Krishna consciousness, that'll happen. So that's what he's talking about here. That there's no other. I don't have to practice yoga, of some other kind. I don't have to practice anything material. All I have to do is perfect this devotional practice. That's real faith. And faith means also confidence that it'll happen. Krishna promises. So that's what I understand. Okay, should I just chant my little poem? Okay, then we can adjourn. No breakfast today. So this is the original Sanskrit, and it's in the songbook. It's there in the songbook with a nice translation by Dravida Prabhu. And the Sanskrit is very lilting. Kunkamakta kanchanam jagavahari goraba pitananchitam jaganda kirti nindi soraba ballavesha suna sava vanchitarta sadika maya mata parapunna dasa dasturadika. Each line is entered into that. So I'll give you a little slow so you can have a vision. Her gold complexion steals the pride of golden lotus tinged with red. Her fragrance mocks the scent of lotus bloom with saffron powder spread. Her skill in satisfying Sri Hari is perfect and complete. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Her wondrous silken garment shame the splendor rubies can display. She is a blooming garden where the bee of Krishna loves to play. She worships Surya every day, so she and Madhava can meet. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Eclipsed by Radha's tenderness, the fame of budding blossoms dims. The moon, the lotus, sandal paste, and camphor serve her cooling limbs. When Krishna burns with love desires, her soothing touch dispels the heat. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Though youthful goddesses adored by all adore the goddess Shri, she lacks Radha's beauty, youth, and every other quality. So when it comes to lovers' sports, with Radha no one can compete. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Within the rasa dance her joking and her singing are the best. She shines with countless traits divine, like love and gorgeous form and dress. Among the famous gopis of Vrindavan, she's supremely sweet. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Eternal pastimes, beauty, youth, and love for Krishna make her rich. The loving gopis tremble just to see her love at highest pitch. Her meditation on Sri Krishna's form and pastimes is complete. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Perspiring, trembling hairs on end, and crying, faltering of the voice, impatience, joy, and guile, these signs of rapture make her friends rejoice. For Krishna's eyes these many gem-like ecstasies provide a treat. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Apart from Krishna for a moment, Radha feels anxiety and restlessness and other moods, the highest kind of ecstasy. But when she meets him with some effort, all the sufferings retreat. May Radhika bestow on me the service of her lotus feet. Exalted goddesses like Parvati can hardly ever see Shri Krishna's lover Radhika. But if a humble devotee recites these verses, then Shri Radha, who enjoys with Shri Hari, will pour the nectar of her service down on him eternally. Hare Krishna. So there it is. And tonight we'll have the same thing with a slideshow. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Srimati Radharani.